In 2023, Nigeria stood at a crossroads as it embarks on one of the most pivotal moments in its democratic history, the general elections.
Even those who made their claims or who are complaining did not really understand what the electoral process is about.
If we really want to succeed in our democratic practice, all the guardrails must be strengthened.
Amidst controversy and skepticism, the integrity of the electoral process came under heavy scrutiny. But beyond the headlines and political rhetoric lies a narrative of resilience, progress, and hope. The journey begins with the Edo State governorship election gains.
As a matter of fact, we've made progress in our electoral laws, especially with the introduction of biometric accreditation, which totally eradicates the fraud we usually see in accreditation process, which brings a lot of integrity to the process. But however, beyond the effort and the electoral laws and my understanding of election being in the field for this number of years, it's just election goes beyond the role that INEC play. In as much as their role is very critical, there are other critical stakeholders that INEC depend on, like the security agencies, the National Union of Road Transport Workers, all the number of people that they will have to employ as ad hoc staff. These are the people that they are going to be depending on to determine the success of an election.
The problem is not the law. The law has its own challenge, but it's just the attitude of our politicians. So we made progress with instituting a legal framework that secures the independence of INEC, that ensures the credibility of our electoral process, that protects the right of voters to cast their votes. In fact, we have an electoral law that also fosters electoral justice. But in the implementation, we saw certain gaps. So there have been progress to the extent that we have a legal framework. Secondly, on electoral technology, we also made significant progress. And in this case, in the BVAS that was deployed for the last election. The BVAS is indeed a game changer. But you see, the BVAS performs dual responsibilities on the day of elections. First, is used as a tool for voter accreditation. And second, is used for what? The upload of results on the INEC's election results viewing portal.
As Nigeria continues its journey towards democratic consolidation, the off-cycle elections stand as a testament to the nation's resilience and commitment to democratic ideals. These off-season elections have been commended for their fairness and transparency, receiving positive feedback from various stakeholders, including political parties, election observers, and international organizations like the European Union. The emphasis is on the significance of conducting credible elections and the continuous improvement of the electoral process to ensure democratic integrity and public trust. In the lead-up to the elections in 2023, Nigeria buzzed with anticipation and uncertainty. Amidst allegations of electoral malpractice and political tensions, the stage was set for a historic showdown. In Nigeria, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has taken significant steps to safeguard elections and enhance transparency by deploying advanced technologies during the 2023 general elections. One of the key systems utilized is the Bimodal Accreditation System, popularly known as BVAS, a handheld device that verifies and authenticates voters through fingerprint or facial recognition. This innovation has significantly improved the voter accreditation process with a success rate of 98%, far surpassing the previous smart card reader.
They become more and more expensive, only in absolute terms. The budget, for instance, the last general election was 355 billion, a little over that. Before then, I think it was during Jega's time. I don't remember the figure now, but it's increased from 2015 to 2019 to 2023 in absolute terms. But when you look at it in relative terms, there is what they call the average cost per voter. When you look at that index, actually it has decreased. And it has decreased from 2015 to 2019 to 2023. And, that's commendable, because when you look at the way the inflation, for instance, and when you look at the kind of crisis, the problems we had, and this last election was one of the, in terms of the attack on our facilities, our processes, it was probably the most violent in those terms. You remember whole offices attacked, vehicles burned, and all these things we had to replace. So that's why, in fact, we even had a supplementary budget, because the original budget was 305 billion or so. And then we had this supplementary budget because of all these things that happened, So when you look at it, the cost has been, decreasing per voter.
Additionally, the INEC Results Viewing Portal, IREV, has been introduced to allow the public to access and view polling unit election result sheets in real time on election day. Alongside BVAS and IREV, other technologies such as the INEC Voter Enrollment Device, Voter Registration Online Portal, Automated Biometric Identification System, and various portals for candidate nominations, media accreditation, observer groups, and political party polling agents have been deployed to enhance data capture, reduce multiple registrations, and ensure the credibility of the elections.
I believe INEC has done well in terms of the process. So if you look at it, talk about numbers, you look at the number of governors who contested in the last election to be senators or former governors. Usually there were about 37 of them that ran for the office of Senate in their respective states. In the past, it is usually a walkover for them. They just win with ease. But in these elections, out of the 37 of them that contested, just about 11 of them were able to win the election. The rest lost. Well, thanks to the BVAS, that checked over voting, and then thanks to the IREV that ensured that results were sent in electronically from the field. For that reason, a lot of people lost the election. In the case in hand is Unbiased State. In Unbiased State, I think 90% of their state assembly members were new persons who ran under Labour Party.
These technological advancements have received widespread support from opposition parties, civic groups, and key figures within the political landscape. The former national chairman of INEC, Professor Attairu Jega, described BVAS as a game changer, emphasizing its importance in ensuring the integrity of the electoral process. The overall goal of these technologies is not only modernized election procedures, but also to increase public confidence in the electoral system. In the 2023 elections in Nigeria, significant changes occurred in the electoral map, particularly in the National Assembly and state assemblies. Fringe parties like the Labour Party, the NNPP, SDP and YPP gained seats, showcasing progress in the country's electoral system.
The fact that it's probably the election where the largest number of parties have won seats since 1999, that in itself speaks volumes about the credibility of the election. We have close to, I think, about 7, I don't remember the exact numbers now, when it was essentially a two-party thing. But now, so many parties have won. You have a situation where parties have lost election in their so-called, the strongholds. So all this they point out to the fact that the election has become more transparent, it has become more credible.
The elections were deemed credible, free and fair, reflecting the efforts of the Independent National Electoral Commission to establish a reliable institution. The composition of the Senate and the House of Representatives saw shifts in party membership. For example, the 9th Senate began with 64 senators from the APC, 44 from the PDP, and 1 from the YPP. This is how the current National Assembly looks after the 2023 elections, reflecting a diverse mix of election victories for both big and not so big political parties in Nigeria. The changes in the electoral map were evident across various states. For instance, the NNPP won significantly in Kano State, while Abia State saw a close contest between the Labour Party and the PDP. Surprising outcomes have also occurred in states like Benue, Sokoto, and Delta, where traditional party dominance was challenged successfully. The elections marked a departure from previous norms, with governors losing re-election bids and new parties securing victories. Moreover, there was a notable shift in the Southeast region's voting pattern, with the Labour Party emerging as a dominant force, replacing the PDP stronghold. These changes reflect a redefinition of Nigeria's political landscape and underscores the impact of credible elections and technological advancements on transparency.
The key part of the reform was that the elections process will begin several months before the election date. This is in fact why parties like Labour Party even were able to perform at all. People don't know even the provisions of this electoral reform. They think it is just the electronic transmission, which they had problem with on one of the several 4 elections that were held. We held senatorial elections, governorship elections, state houses of assembly elections, you understand? National assembly elections, state houses of assembly elections, governorship elections, and presidential elections. We held 4 elections. So the transmission of results worked in all 3. It is in this one that it didn't work for that day, because it worked afterwards still. And the IREV documents, the documents that are in IREV now, people can go and challenge it if it's not true now. If it is not what is on the, what were distributed or agreed upon and signed by those who participated at the polling unit. Even you or me, we can just go and challenge it right now if we have alternative evidence. There is none. But people focus only on this electoral reform. When they talk about electoral reform, they are usually talking about electronic transmission, because that's the one that points to the issue that is in their hearts the most. Do you understand? It is, as far as I'm concerned, a way of, perpetrating ignorance in society.
We should all understand that there's no perfect election anywhere. And what we have is free, or we try to guarantee free, fair, and credible election. And what we had in 2023 was far better than what we had in the previous election. And why do I say so? This was the only election that the so-called powers that be lost in their area of strength. The only election where people who are seen as throwbacks in the society, like taxi drivers, farmers, Okada riders, emerged as representatives of their various constituencies.
In the aftermath of the 2023 general elections in Nigeria, a significant shift occurred as several political heavyweights, particularly former governors, faced unexpected defeats in their bids to secure seats in the Nigerian Senate. This election marked a departure from the past, where the National Assembly was often labeled as a retirement home for ex-governors, leveraging their incumbency power to transition into legislative roles. However, The tide turned in 2023 due to the Independent National Electoral Commission's innovative technological strategies. Notable figures such as Ben Ayade of Cross River State and Governor Ifeanyi Ugwuanya of Enugu State found themselves unable to clinch Senate positions, signaling a departure from the norm. These outcomes underscore a changing landscape where retiring governors face challenges in securing seats in the National Assembly, reflecting a new era of electoral dynamics. The defeat and upset experienced by these political heavyweights during the 2023 elections highlighted the evolving nature of Nigerian politics and the impact of technological advancements on the electoral process.
Well, I think the 4-year cycle of elections are supposed to ensure some level of progression. And to that extent, I think we've made some progress from a purely manual process. We have begun gradually to introduce electronic concepts in our election system. And the 2023, we've gone the whole hog of doing accreditation with an electronic device. I think to that extent, it's really some serious progress. Of course, we failed to transmit results real time as we had promised, but we have also shown that it's possible, it's doable, which is another positive. It then means that if we are really interested in, electronic transmission, we can achieve that.
In the realm of Nigerian politics, the credibility of elections holds significant weight, with international observer missions and political actors playing crucial roles in shaping public perception. The 2023 general elections in Nigeria garnered attention from various observer missions, both locally and internationally, whose comments became pivotal in assessing the electoral process. Entities like the Commonwealth, African Union and ECOWAS observation missions lauded the elections of 2023 for notable improvements such as increased voter registration, the enactment of a new electoral act, and the overall peaceful conduct on election day. These positive observations were echoed by the US Department of State, which congratulated the Nigerian people and then President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu. However, amidst all the praise, criticisms emerged from domestic and foreign civil society organizations like the European Union, raising concerns about the electoral process. The Tinubu government notably rejected the EU EOM report, defending the election's integrity and highlighting the positive assessments from non-partisan observers such as the African Union, ECOWAS, Commonwealth Observer Mission, and the Nigerian Bar Association. The Nigerian Bar Association's report, based on over 1,000 observers, indicated that a majority of Nigerians considered the 2023 elections credible and satisfactory.
The elections went well. Those who came out were happy to express their franchise. There were challenges, definitely. There were challenges that we got. Some infractions of the rules. Some of them actually constituted electoral offences. But on the whole, I would score INEC as having performed maybe about 70-80%.
Overall, the 2023 general elections in Nigeria witnessed a blend of commendations and criticisms from various stakeholders, shaping a narrative that reflects the diverse perspectives surrounding electoral integrity and political dynamics in the country. In the aftermath of the 2023 general elections in Nigeria, a series of court cases were brought against the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. Notably, challenges against INEC's conduct in states like Lagos, Kano, Zamfara, Ebonyi, Plateau, Abia, Cross River, Adamawa, Bauchi were dismissed by the courts, affirming the credibility of the elections. Furthermore, Judgments favored INEC's discretion on electronic transmission of votes, emphasizing the wide powers granted to the electoral body in determining such processes. Significantly, the Presidential Election Petition Court and the Supreme Court of Nigeria upheld President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's election victory, settling lingering doubts on his legitimacy. The Supreme Court also affirmed the governorship election results declared by INEC across various states. No victory was secured against INEC at the Apex Court on the account of election malpractice or irregularity, because all the cases lacked merit, according to the justices.
In many, almost all of the elections petitions that I participated in, you could see that even those who made their claims or who were complaining did not really understand what the electoral process is about. And many of them, their claims are basically technical claims. For an example, very many of the cases that I was involved in the Northwest were cases about somebody saying some other person is not qualified because what? The names or the name that he had in the electoral form is different from the name in the certificates. Some other person will also say that, yes, your name is Sam Kagbo, but you have Sam Abuja, which is very normal in the Northwest and most of the North. People adding the names of their town to their names. That is a common thing. And for them, they believe that that by itself has disqualified you. But the concern is very clear to say, if you are a Nigerian, you are of this age, and you are of this academic qualification, and you have not been found guilty or been in prison or whatever, you are qualified to contest the election.
The legal battles surrounding the 2023 elections underscored the judiciary's role in upholding electoral integrity and resolving disputes, ultimately shaping the political landscape in Nigeria. In the lead-up to the 2023 general elections in Nigeria, a particular political group employed deliberate strategies to spread misinformation